The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Hi, I'm Nicole, Jacinto. Join us on Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗁 as we discuss the latest health and medical topics with doctors from 𝗏𝗏𝗁. For a healthier and uplifting lifestyle, tune into Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗁 on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Radio Bandido TV. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Watch and listen to Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗁, Mondays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Airing on Sky Cable Channel 224 and on all DTT boxes. Simulcasting online on Facebook and YouTube. Listen and watch on your mobile devices. Just search DZRJ Radio Bandido.
You're about to experience Healthline, a show where doctors from 𝗏𝗏𝗁 interact with you for a healthy, uplifting lifestyle. Moderated by Nicole Jacinto. You've got questions, we've got answers. So welcome to Healthline.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗁. I'm your host, Nicole Jacinto. Well, here in Metro Manila, it's June 24, Monday. But of course, as you know, you can watch us all over the world on Radio Bandido. Well, you can watch us here on Radio Bandido TV. You can hear us on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Radio Bandido Live. And you can also watch us on all our streaming platforms. And you guys know that because you do watch the show and you do send in questions. If you have questions for today's show, however, I have to remind you to send the questions in during the show if you'd like the doctor to answer them right away. Okay, so today we have with us Dr. Martin Manahan. How are you, Dr. Manahan?
Hey, I'm fine. Nice to thank you for having me, Nicole.
Yes.
It's been a long time since we last spoke.
Exactly. It's been quite a while since we last met. Has been practicing water birth for a long time with his patients, and I understand a lot of your patients are very, very satisfied, and they enjoy the experience, or it makes the experience much easier for a lot of women. As we know, remember, Dr. Manahan, there used to be the saying that when a woman gives birth, she has one foot in the grave, and that's an old saying because, of course, throughout history and all of that, it has been very dangerous and painful to give birth. And there are different ways of giving birth, but we're here to discuss water birth. But before that, could you tell us the different forms of labor or giving birth that one may usually experience apart from water birth before you focus on?
Of course, there's a non-medicated birth, so you just do it outside and no anesthesia, no intervention at all. A lot of the urban poor have this, but there was a trend years ago with the Lamaze deliveries.
Yes.
When in the United States, there was a lot of litigation that came with doing anesthesia, and that was very popular. Mm-hmm. One of the pioneers in this country was Dr. 𝗏𝗏𝗁𝗁 of Makati Medical Center.
With Lamaze.
With Lamaze, yeah.
Just like to orient some of the audience who are not that familiar with it, with Lamaze.
Basically, they're taught how to breathe. They're taught strategies of how to lessen the pain. But of course, being outside the water without anesthetic, of course, it's painful.
Yes.
But then, like with many things in life, pain gives you much great pleasure later on. So it's a wonderful thing. Giving birth in general is an amazing thing. Nowadays, since our fertility rate is dropping, this 50% drop in 50 years, 1% drop every year. So human life is very precious. And we in Makati Medical Center give them a very safe option of delivering. So it's either Lamaze or water immersion therapy or water birth, and then epidural. So those are the ways of natural delivery. Of course, there's cesarean section in case something happens. But the important thing is to make sure that everybody is safe. Yes. It doesn't matter how you deliver, as long as you and your baby are safe. Because there's this whole thing that, oh my God, I have to deliver this way. No. Yes. Parenthood is how you bring up your baby. Exactly. The way you deliver, as long as you two are good, that is all we're after. So we offer all types of deliveries in a very, very safe environment at the Makati Medical Center.
Thank you,
So,
doctor. Safe environment.
just to tell you, know that giving birth, when you say giving birth, it's it's not so romantic. But then I like to always mention the Spanish, because Spanish is a very romantic language. To
Yes.
give birth in Spanish is dar a luz. You know what that means?
To give the light.
To give light. And it's amazing because it's like light. Light, life, that's all that's important nowadays. The pandemic taught us that life and family and health, that's the most important thing.
Thank you, doctor. Yes, dar la luz, no? So,
Dar a luz.
yeah, when I was a child, I heard a lot like, oh, somebody's gonna give birth. They would say that, and I'm sure that those who speak Spanish here are also familiar with that term. And most of the women I know have given birth. I haven't myself, so I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm just saying, but if I had to, I would definitely go to you because
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think many of your family members have gone through my family, because we've been
Yes.
at this since 1945 when Dr. 𝗠𝗸𝗁𝗵𝗹𝗁 started.
Yes.
And he was one of the founding chairman of Makati Medical Center. Then my
Yes.
father was the youngest brother, Dr. 𝗠𝗸𝗁𝗵𝗹𝗁. So we've been at this since 1945.
Yes, I actually wanted you to highlight that, doctor, that history of your family, helping so many of us, and like my mother's generation and even my generation in giving birth, no, and
Yes.
generations, I'm sure after my generation as well.
Also, just a very interesting thing, because my father he wrote a book on the family history, and we can trace our ancestry back since the 1750s. However, an interesting note is that my great-great-grandmother, in other words, my father and CP Manahan, Senator Manahan's, Tita 𝗛𝗶𝗁𝗵𝗃𝗏's grandmother died at childbirth.
Okay.
She actually died at childbirth. And, it's kind of like payback that CP Manahan was like greatest of all time. And then Dr. Antonio Manahan was no slouch. Two really great obstetricians came from that line. And I'm just happy to be in the same field as them.
The same field as them, bringing in.
My sister as well, Dr. Regina Manahan, is in the field.
So bringing in life to this world, and it also happened that in your family, way back there was a tragedy where your great-grandmother died.
Great-grandmother, yeah. She died at childbirth.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my lolo, Juan Manahan, was the only child, and she died giving birth to him. And from that tragedy came, two very prominent obstetricians. And then there's my sister and I,
Yeah.
aside from Uncle Tito and my pop.
That's a very nice personal note that you've put in there, doctor, because it shows that you care about your patients, and it's been like a family history of yours to help women through childbirth and to bring life into this world.
Thank you, Nicole. Yes.
Just a note though, you mentioned earlier that the the fertility rates are going down. Is that
Yes.
not to take away from the topic later on, but just very quickly, is that because of like there's so many incidences of PCOS now, or people
So partially, yes. With the sperm counts, they're dropping. So they found lots and lots of microplastics in testicles. I don't know how they got there. But then the sperm counts are dropping, and then it's a lot of PCOS. Like, I don't know, so many girls.
Yes.
It's PCOS. So there's something with that. And then there's also in other countries, they're talking about the amount of how religious they are. The more religious, the more children. People are less religious. The more highly educated the woman is, the less children. If she lives in an urban environment, the less children as well, because it's very expensive. I mean, we're still okay in the Philippines. We're still experiencing some population growth. It's very small compared to before. But then at least we're not in a situation like Japan or China, where they have negative growth and they're in danger of becoming extinct. If you like Korean telenovelas, please enjoy them now. Because they're not reproducing because of economic reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to choose between the two where and you can provide for your children and like not have a life of sort of condemning, well, not condemning, but well, yes, condemning people to a life of misery and difficulty. But economics does come into play a lot, and also it's also difficult to choose between that and like actually having to do the work. And I'm sure highly educated women, well, they have to work too, and there's so many incidents.
Exactly.
Single mothers, because
Yeah.
there's some deadbeat dads out there. You know how.
Well, you don't have to stay with a mistake. I always tell patients that, you know what? Your child is your immortality.
Yes.
In fact, with women, you, Nicole, they can trace your mitochondria all the way back to Eve.
Yes.
With us guys, voila, you can't do that. But with women, yeah, you can do that. Women's bodies are amazing. So, I mean, it's your immortality, it's your baby. This gives you not necessarily pleasure, but it gives you purpose, and that makes you happy. So people have to look outside themselves. They gotta, if you gotta take care of somebody, if you're not gonna take care of a kid. Nowadays, there's so many dog. I was looking in Greenbelt, the 𝗛𝗶𝗁 shop is so much bigger than the human shop, Healthy Options. It's like 4 times bigger. So aside from dogs, you should make humans too.
Yes. I do have dogs. They're also like children. They're actually like my children. But I guess it just didn't happen for me. It could still happen, but I'm uncertain. But for many, I understand what you mean, doctor. Like you do as part of society, or if we're not isolated human beings, we do take care of someone. And if it's not a child, it's a parent.
Yes, exactly.
Or someone a family member, perhaps even a close friend. So if you can that way and connect, it's sometimes very difficult to get through all of this. And as you said, COVID taught us that life is precious.
Exactly.
Our own or of the ones we love.
It's human connection and taking care of each other. That's really important.
And more people can take care of more dogs too.
Absolutely. Our family, we brought up Labrador Retrievers. We had a championship line. Thing is, I delivered the dogs before I delivered humans.
Wow.
Yeah.
My grandmother delivered dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, with I'm already 61 now, so my heart can't take the sadness of an animal dying.
Yeah.
So I'd rather, concentrate on people. But you're powerless against dogs because they have this oxytocin thing. Basically, when you look at the dog looks at you, you're exchanging oxytocin. Same thing as a baby. Exactly. When you're breastfeeding, you're releasing oxytocin, you're both falling in love with each other.
Yes.
So you're helpless.
Totally.
Why did we get back to the humans? We're talking about dogs. I love dogs too.
Yeah. But you see, it's the love that can be shared with dogs, humans.
Absolutely.
And so you have described for us, doctor, the other ways of giving birth. And as you said, you assure us Makati is there for mothers and babies to make sure it doesn't really matter how you give birth as long as you're safe. But water birth is one of those options.
Yes.
And let's talk about that option, doctor. Okay. So what is so different about water birth? What exactly happens?
So basically, people are thinking, oh, that's a trendy thing. It's so new. Actually, it's ancient.
Yes.
Water birth has been around since 8000 BC. If you know anything about the Egyptian pharaohs, they thought they were gods. So basically, they married their sisters.
Yes.
They kept marrying their sisters. They were so inbred. In fact, 𝗏𝗏 was, he had a club foot. He was inbred. So because they were inbred, they were kind of delicate, and they did water births. So basically, the water birth is going back to our amphibious origins. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference? So the difference is that, number one, compared to being, lamas, when you're in the water, being in that temperature, you have less pain.
Okay.
Secondly, is the pregnancy floats. So you actually have better circulation. You're able to go in any position you like.
Mhm.
And the baby has a dive reflex. So basically, the baby's not going to drown as long as the water is 37 degrees above. And that's what is really important, no? That makes the difference in our water birth facility, no? The water is always the correct temperature. And when the baby comes out, so what I do is I support the vagina since it's warm water and there's a way of supporting vagina. There's almost no tearing. And
Okay.
you know the sense of accomplishment, my God, when it's a successful water birth, the whole delivery room is high. We're hardwired to celebrate
Celebrate.
deliveries, but even more with this because it's amazing.
Yes.
But
Doc-
again, in case it doesn't, succeed, every birth is a triumph, okay? But when it does, it's amazing. I cannot describe the feeling. It's like the residents go, "What's going on?" I said, "We just had a birth," so everybody's so happy.
Thank you, doctor. That shows your passion for it. And that's the kind of doctors that we want, especially
Well,
for
when you give birth, it's the only field in medicine where nobody's sick.
yeah.
Think about it. Nobody's sick. And unless you're really unhappy about it, most of the time you're happy about having a delivery. So
Yeah.
most of the time. So it's a wonderful, wonderful process to I'm very privileged to deliver kids. And I always say it's the best job
It's
in the world. In fact, it's funny, my Garmin, this is a fitness watch. It
Mhm.
always says that no matter how busy I am, or I was doing emergencies and all that, it always says, "Oh, you had a very relaxed day."
Yeah. Yes. Oh my! If I had
So
one of
weird.
those, it wouldn't be that way. So you've got the best job in the world, and no matter how busy you are, you have the best. I mean, you've had a great day.
My Garmin says I'm very relaxed. So
Hang out with you more often, even though I'm not giving birth. You might relax me.
oh no, I can talk about anything, but we'll end up talking about so many things. It's fun to talk with people, and I'm very happy that even though there was a pandemic, I got to socialize with everyone.
Doctor, you said the temperature of the water is very important. 37.
Yes.
That's Celsius.
Yes, 37 degrees Celsius and above, because that's body temperature. No? So if the baby comes out and it's less than that, they'll gasp. So if they're underwater and it's not that temperature, oh yeah, they can drown, right?
Yeah.
And so that's important because a lot of deliveries happen in a plastic pool.
Yeah.
At home, you have immersion things that you can get electrocuted with, or you have some of them are politicians, so they have slaves pouring hot water. But with our tub, it's just there, it's on, and it retains. It's big enough so it retains the heat. No, you have to balance it because you'll see the tub later on when the video.
Yes.
But basically, it has to be big enough so that it can retain the temperature, but it should not be too big that she's going to deliver already. You haven't filled up the tub.
Yeah. Yes,
I've had
exactly.
that situation. We have to get water from elsewhere and then pour it to try to fill it up so that we'll be able to immerse the patient.
So you have the proper equipment and everything, doctor. And perhaps now we can show the video, and as we're showing, you can decide to speak over
Yes,
it
thank you.
to describe any process or make comments.
Sure.
So shall we, AJ? Let's
Yes.
show the video to show us to help show the audience the process of water birth.
So this is a 5th floor tower 2, no? This is the CP Manahan Pavilion, Constantino Perez Manahan.
AJ, maybe a bit more sound. Thank you.
On the
CP
left was the
Manahan
old
Pavilion
sound.
is named after Dr. Constantino Manahan, who is considered the father of modern Philippine obstetrics and gynecology. Upon entering, we find ourselves in the triage area where patients are greeted and vital signs are taken. Here is our friendly reception area staff. Once the patient is initially seen, they are led through the residence triage area where the central monitoring is done. The patient then enters the examination room where fetal monitoring, if needed, is done, as well as physical examination. From the examination room, if the patient is for admission, they are brought to the high-risk observation room if needed, or the various labor rooms. Each of the private labor rooms has a companion's chair plus television. The delivery room is well lit and spacious with high ceilings. The first room to the right is the interview room. There are comfortable sofas, and we see memorabilia belonging to Dr. 𝗠𝗸𝗁𝗏 Manahan, who was one of the co-founders and was the first medical director of the Makati Medical Center. Going further down the corridor, the first room on the left is birthing room 1. The room rivals a hotel room and is very comfortable space where a patient can go into labor and deliver. This also serves as a recovery room after delivery. The room has its own toilet and shower. There is also a very nice view of Makati from the large windows. Going farther down the corridor, next room is birthing room 2. This is the antechamber where companions such as a doula or photographer can rest to give the couple privacy. When we enter, we see the water delivery tub. We do our water immersion deliveries here. This room serves as a birthing room but was constructed specifically to cater to water births. This is the best water birth facility in the country. Water immersion delivery patients are given priority to this room. The tub is large enough to maintain the correct water temperature for water birth. This enables the couple to have their own water birth delivery in clean, comfortable surroundings, and at the same time gives them the highest level of safety since it is inside the delivery room. The monitoring can be viewed remotely at the central monitoring area. There are 5 operating delivery rooms. The delivery rooms are large, ultra-modern, well-lit, completely equipped, and staffed by well-motivated and excellent personnel. Should a COVID or infectious disease case be present, we have the negative pressure operating room. Patients after delivery are sent to the recovery.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for AJ for helping us with that video.
Thank you.
And as I saw, doctor, like with the with the video, there really is the CP Manahan wing is really prepared for births of all kind. I mean, all types of labor, and just looking at it already feels relaxing for what I'm sure is a very nerve-wracking experience for many people. The woman giving birth, perhaps the partner or the father or whoever it is, a significant even the parents, the cousins, the friends, especially probably if it's for first-time mothers. So I do have a few questions for you, doctor.
Sure.
Okay, so anyway, when it comes to we've seen it with our own eyes, and for those in our audience who cannot see the description, I just like to describe to you, walking in, seeing that whole wing dedicated to women who are giving birth, and as you heard the voiceover and Dr. Manahan explained some things, it's all there. It matches. When you choose water birth, it's an actual delivery room, doctor, and as you said, because if you try to do this at home, the water temperature may not be correct, and then you'll be like scrambling to get it right. pouring in hot water. And then, oh, it's too hot. It's like kind of like experimenting a bit when when you draw yourself a bath, or when you
Oh,
have, when you bubble bath. But of course, when you're giving birth, you don't have that option. You need the help of people. So we've seen that the tub, or I don't know what else to call it, is big enough for also the doctor to fit inside. And can I
no,
ask you,
no,
doctor?
the doctor doesn't go inside. Basically, we lean
Right?
over.
Can
We
I?
lean over.
You lean over. Okay.
Yeah, we
So
lean
it also
over.
has to be like a special height, a special. You
Yes.
mentioned, doctor, that earlier, like during Egyptian times, during the times of ancient in Egypt, they did water birth. You
Yeah.
said it was like 8,000 years ago BC,
Mhm.
and you said giving birth can also, like, it's like there's less pressure on the body, because if it hurts or you want to move to your side, then you can,
Any position. Yeah, any position.
that's more comfortable.
Mhm.
Can I ask you, doctor, like, how many people are in the room or can be in the room with a mother who's doing a water birth?
It can be as few as two extra, meaning myself and one resident.
Mhm.
And then depends. We've had people like you saw the ante room, like the pediatricians are all there.
Yeah.
There can be the doula. We Makati Med allows a doula. So doula is somebody who gives psychological and emotional support to the patient. So we always welcome doulas. I know several who are very, very good. No, so yeah, depends. I had one patient. Wow, she sent me out because they just wanted it them only, so we can dim the light and stuff like that. You can bring your own music, you can put your as aromatherapy, you can dim the lights, you can make it however you want. But during delivery, the minimum is two. So myself and a nurse, and then we delay cord clamping, and then we'll give to the pediatrician. So the pediatrician will come in as well. You saw when
So,
in the water there was a lot of equipment there that's not normally there. So
okay,
when they're there, it's like the equipment is out.
out.
If you need it, then we bring it in.
Okay, if needed, then you bring it in. So
Yeah.
everything set and ready, as it said in the video, and as you've said, like, should anything be needed, then, well, there's also a monitoring station. That's what I learned from the video, where you can
Yeah.
watch the birth from there, and you can call in a pediatrician,
Al-
another
al- yeah.
really.
Although when they're in the water, we cannot monitor them because it's electrical stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what is good is that, okay, supposing something's wrong, it's stuck or there's something going on.
Mhm.
Typically we can convert. What I do is I ask for epidural in
Mhm.
case it's stuck. So if it's epidural, we expect if it's done after about 20 minutes, I expect dilatation. If it's not dilated, then there's something wrong. It's really stuck. So you can see that the bed is nearby. This
Yeah.
job, however, is highly physical. I keep myself in very good condition. Why? Because we're bent over the tub, reaching down, trying to deliver the baby for like 20, 40 minutes. Then
Mhm.
sometimes if they're stuck, they can't get up. I physically have to carry the patient and bring her there. But the nice thing there in Makati Medical Center is that everybody is already prepared. So the anesthesiologists, when they give anesthesia, that
They're on
epidural
standby.
will work. It's
That
done in
epidural.
10 minutes at the bedside, and it's very, very good. I had one situation where this baby is now 6 years old, but I knew there was a cord coil,
Mm.
and but they insisted on it's a cord around the neck.
Yes.
And because I asked for ultrasound at the 37th week, I checked is the position's correct, the head's not too big, there's no, I mean, just to make sure everything's okay before we do the water birth. But this time we knew there was a cord coil, and it got stuck. And
Okay.
it's funny because the partner of the girl is Spanish. He looked like Jesus Christ. I mean, if you think Jesus Christ, he looks like Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So the baby got stuck. We had to do epidural, and you know what? It dilated, but it pulled the placenta out.
Okay.
5 minutes. We wheeled her, prepped her, got the baby out in 5 minutes, and then Jesus Christ, I mean, not Jesus Christ, Jesus the guy, he said that I thought the baby was dead, but she was totally fine. And that's how fast it is, because people there run. And we
Yeah.
know already. And then that's an extreme example of how good, how fast it is. So that's the whole point. If you manage to do it, that's amazing. But if something happens, we're there for them. And you can imagine if something, and I've had this situation before because I'm the backup of a lot of home deliveries. So they're there screaming and yelling and in pain, and then they're rushing through traffic. Buti na nga if it's at night time. But if it's during daytime, holy cows. Imagine traffic.
Yes.
So,
I mean, even having to hold your pee during traffic is torture.
yeah, imagine holding a baby during traffic.
So, doctor, okay, there are a minimum of 2 people in the room when the birth happens, and as you said, there can be others and as well. And of course, you mentioned earlier it's usually you and the resident or you and the nurse at minimum. Do people like yourself or the residents or the nurse, do they need special training for water birth? Are they certified in any way? Is that
Okay.
is that
Because Makati Medical Center is a Joint Commission International gold standard, this is the highest standard in the world. On July 2018, the then department chairman, Dr. 𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶, decided that we had to comply with JCI standards. So I conducted a workshop and we trained. I was the one who was the trainer there. And we trained our nursing, our resident, and our consultant staff. It was supposed to be repeated, but then the pandemic happened, and maybe we should do that again. Yeah, but they were trained, no? I mean, so this is probably the only doctor-trained session that was ever done in the Philippines. There was another hospital that had it, but it was an American nurse, and I'm not sure how that went. But the thing is, we trained our staff because we need to make sure that everyone is able to do it. Because when you're doing usual delivery, you mentioned the position. It can be any position, and it's very disorientating if you're not used to that. You have to make sure that you're able to know how to pull out the baby, supposing their back is turned, or else I had one patient who did a starfish position, all sorts of positions. Basta, you need to make sure that the baby is safe. You don't accidentally cut the cord, and then when the baby's delivered, the head's up above water. I've had to hold the baby like that until we're able to cut the cord and then give the baby to the mommy. No? So it's
so
something
glad
that
you mentioned
people don't like because it's not structured.
Yes, but as you said, I mean, doctor, like even until now, there are cultures where people give birth squatting because that's the way it's always been done, or they find it easy.
Yes, it is actually easier for most.
So having different positions is not a new thing. Of course, people would like it more structured because they're very nervous about all this, and the traditional medicine has, I guess, the beginning they had to put it that way to make sure. But with water birth, it can be in any position, and as you said, you're there to guide, and you keep fit because you can lift the patient and put the bed. And you mentioned the epidural. Before. I mean, there were things of like, oh yeah, I should have gotten an epidural, but it was too late. So nowadays, it's not like that anymore.
Our anesthesiologists are really amazing. We've done it at at full dilatation, but then it depends really. Sometimes, like those cases that come from outside, you don't. It depends really.
Yes, it depends.
But they're able to do it, and epidural is something that it takes a very high skill set.
Yes.
And our anesthesiologists do it all the time. I'm so used to it. I'm so spoiled. That's why I just practice here.
Yes, you do have good anesthesiologists in Makati Med. I've tried a couple of them myself, for other procedures. Okay. And the equipment, just to round up the discussion, the equipment, you have the proper equipment, and I'm guessing that you pump in water through a system where it's heated. You have something there that tells you it's the right temperature.
We have the thermometers and all that. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Hmm.
No, it all happens. There are people making it happen, and the focus is on the mother giving birth
Hmm.
with the least possible pain, and the baby and the mother being safe. Okay, so
Doctor is not God, no?
Yeah.
You have to understand that, because some people, they think that the doctor can do everything. No, we're actually trying to balance the welfare of the baby. It's the baby, it's the mom's body, and it's
yes,
the baby, and the baby goes through periods of lack of oxygen, but their blood can take it. So I'm there all the time. So when they're there in the water birth, I'm just around the complex, and we always have somebody checking, or the doula will tell me, oh, you have to check. No?
Yes.
We always work as a team. So I think given the number of personnel that what we have, it's this is a very, very good thing.
Mhm.
It's just dependent on the patient and on the baby. And then with that saying that, the patients have to be prepared. You
Yes.
cannot just say, oh, I'm gonna do this later now, and then you ate too much. you don't exercise.
Yeah. So the
A lot
doctor.
of a lot of these models and athletes do really well. They do
Okay.
really well. But in order to prepare it, I always tell my patients, of course, people say this is controversial, but you should do intermittent fasting. Humans are meant to be fasting and feasting. So when you're doing that, your body knows how to burn fat as a fuel. So
Okay.
fat is unlimited. So and basically they just have to do their prenatal checkup, so we can check whether they're whether everything's okay.
So doctor, in terms of preparing the mother who's gonna give birth, like, can you give us like a few examples of like things that she should be doing, or that you tell her to do? Because you did say, okay, one, you mentioned intermittent fasting. Are there
Well,
other things?
that's her choice, really, no? But they have to control their diet, not too many carbohydrates if possible, because that's the problem. That's why everybody has PCOS.
Yeah.
You have so many choices here, and humans are addicted to sugar.
Yes.
So if the baby's too big, I mean, there are so many cases where they keep wondering how come they can't deliver because the baby's like 9 pounds. How are you gonna do that if you're 5 feet tall?
Yes.
You just have to prepare. Things can be prepared for.
And of course the patient or the mother would have to do you prepare, I mean, are you you have patients and you're the doctor, and they say, okay, Dr. Manahan, I want to try the water birth. You tell them like, okay, you should follow this regimen, and see how much of it you can do. And I'm sure you have some patients, you said models and athletes do well because they
exercise a lot and they diet a lot, and they're tall most of the time. Height actually makes a difference
in giving
So,
birth.
yeah, and giving birth. I mean, if you've got a bigger body, you can
Yes.
push a bigger baby through.
Okay.
So, I always say, I will deliver you, according to your wishes. As far as we can go, we will do that.
Yeah.
And it's really up to them. And, it's like empowerment. Basically, if you did the water birth, it's all you. You did that. I just delivered. If we did the other things, then you give away part of your control. But, you shouldn't go through life thinking you can control everything. But basically, the sense of accomplishment, when you did that delivery, it's you.
Yes.
Again, it should not be a competition. You should be
Yes.
safe. Your baby should be safe. That's all that matters. Because when you deliver, that's just the beginning.
Mhm.
How you bring up your baby, how you bring them up as human beings, that's the important one.
Thing. That's what makes a parent.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Doctor, you've mentioned some of the perhaps you can just go through quickly your thoughts, the benefits of water birth and then also the risks, just to put it out there again, just to circle back.
Basically, the benefits are, well, it's less expensive. Number one, I didn't mention that, no? It's less expensive because there's no anesthesiologist. There's no, if you didn't tear, we didn't repair, we don't have to open other sets. Secondly is, if you're able to do it, there's the very beginning of the birth of a child, you already have a good relationship. And it's really a sense of accomplishment. And also, theoretically, the blood flow is better to the baby because the pregnancy is floating. So normally the pregnancy is sitting on the aorta, and it's heavy. So it's floating at this time, so you get better circulation. I mean, there's no super good way of doing it, but those are advantages, and there's less tearing. So if you're gonna do a natural delivery, it's hot water, and then I'm leaning over, supporting the vagina to make sure it doesn't tear much. So much of the time we don't have to repair.
That's great news for a lot of women because that's painful, I would assume.
Well, at the time, the tearing of the vagina, they don't even care about it. It's the labor that does it. But there's a really huge difference between no anesthesia and in the water. In fact, sometimes we can't let them in the water too soon because it stops the contractions. They're too relaxed. So we have to get them out of the water to start it again.
It's also very relaxing, no? Naturally, I think for you. You did say going back to our amphibious roots because we kind of came as people, or I don't know, Homo sapiens sapiens, for whatever we evolved into. We came out of the water, and some went back. Exactly. Then we have mammals in the water like whales.
Well, babies breathe water.
Yes, they do.
Inside, you're breathing water, right?
We can only do that outside. You'd be like, Aquaman.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the least favorite superhero, but still a superhero.
He just looks cute in the cartoon version that I used to watch. You're least okay. All right, doctor. So, and some of those are the benefits, and I think are there perhaps any risks, just to lay it out there so that we do give people complete information, maybe?
Of course, as you mentioned in the very beginning, no, childbirth is very risky. It's because we have giant heads. We have very big brains. We're the only animals that the brains develop afterwards. In fact, the head size is adult size by age 6 to 7. So since this very large head has to go through pelvis, there's a lot of things that can happen. So of course it's risky, but I would like to invite people to deliver there because we watch you really well. And it's not like, and if something ever happens, we'll take care of you because people run. We try to anticipate everything. Nothing is guaranteed, but to my knowledge, as of this time, no, we have not had any, I mean, knock on wood, morbidities in the water birth area.
Doctor, for that, I'm sure that reassures a lot of people. And I remember a few years ago, I actually have a cousin who, like, when we did the show, commented that I'm not gonna say her name. I do remember though that she lauded you basically for taking care of her, I mean, during the time she gave birth. Anyway, doctor, when it comes to, are there certain people who you think are good candidates, or like, this person could really do water birth, and when they ask you, do you recommend it? And like, for example, how about first-time mothers? Is this a good thing for them to try?
They can try because like all things, you need to train. So basically, it's the determination is the most important thing. You set your mind to it. I've had patients who just did that. They set their mind to it and wow, they just did it. So the mind is extremely powerful. So if you prepare for it, your determination and your research is there, then you can succeed. So it was, I mean, that's why I was talking about the diet, no?
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
I want the water birth, but also the epidural because I'm really like I
Well,
can't. Do you have that?
you can do that, of course, because it's not really only for delivering in the water, because you can labor in the water, and when you decide that, okay, I want the epidural, we get you out of the tub, we dry you up, and we do epidural because it's
It's kind of dynamic, no? You can
you can do whatever you like. In fact, that room that's used for recovery. So after you deliver, you're there with your baby. Sometimes even if it's cesarean, they're there.
Yes.
Of course, I haven't had any. I had time before where we saw the husband in the tub afterwards. It's like he paid for it, so he's relaxing there in the tub like that.
Now that I can, of course, the water and the environment is sterile, but
Actually, no, the water is not completely sterile because yeah, I tell patients that please do not eat a lot of salad before you deliver because you have no idea. There's salad that comes out, and then I had a patient that wow.
I mean that's one of the things that I heard. Like, I mean, you could have feces come out.
You can have stuff. We have 3 types of nets for that. 3 sizes of nets. And then so it's a different, the doctor is a different type that you have the gloves, and then your hands are there in the water, and then stuff's coming out,
Yeah.
But childbirth is in a natural delivery. It comes out with poo also. So
yes, it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean things come out, pee pee, poo poo, whatever it is, part of natural.
It's part of delivery. So so that's it. I mean that's why a lot of doctors don't like it, because it's a different thing. You gotta be. It takes time, because if the patients with epidural, you're just there relaxing.
Yeah.
This one, no, you're very actively involved in it. So at the same time, if it does succeed, you're really happy as well.
I would think of you as like the kind of guy who would be helping out giving birth to the pharaohs.
And then if there's a mistake, cut off the head.
I don't think you're. Yes, the head, and then put it on a sphinx.
Yeah.
And then you'll be a sphinx.
This was actually done first time in the West, in France. So they were able to notice that when the baby, because it was stuck, and then they were able to do it successfully, and they noticed that the baby comes out more calm, more relaxed.
Yes.
Better contact with the mom. So those are small things.
And it's kind of like you're floating as a fetus. You're floating around in your mom's. I mean,
Still, yeah, you're still there.
so then when you get out, it's water, body temperature. You're not immediately shocked. So
Yeah.
perhaps
Mm-mm.
perhaps it helps with
It
easier.
can. Theoretically, it can help with the transition, with the mood, with those things. They're just small things, but then they're valuable things.
Yes, they are.
Hmm.
Doctor, how about expecting mothers who have twins or
Oh
triplets?
no, not twins. There's a danger of uterine relaxation and bleeding to death. I was actually forced to do my first water birth by a patient. She was in front of me, 8 centimeters dilated, and then she was telling me to do the water birth. I didn't want, because it's something I'd never done. But she had everything. She had a tutu for her skirt and all that. But then it was in another place, and then that place there was a mishap, and the woman almost died. So they had closed it for 4 months. So when we turned on the water, it was green. So we had to let it run through, and then I had. It was a difficult situation because it's so far away. Nobody's going to help you. You spend your time praying in the next room. So, years ago, I asked the then president, Rose Montenegro, she was president of Makati Med, can you please build me a water birth?
Yes.
I'm sure I'll have the doctors use it, but so they made this water birth facility. It was really bespoke. It was ideal, So that's why in twin births, if they deliver too fast, if it's twins, there's a good chance of bleeding. So generally when they expel the placenta, that's a lot of blood comes out. I give a shot of methylbromide to make sure the uterus contracts, have the baby breastfeed to make the uterus contract as well. Because that's the time and it can be dangerous, no?
So, doctor, a couple of things that I'm picking up, and please correct me if I'm wrong anytime. Do not recommend water birth for women who have, let's say, twins or triplets, because things are very fast, and the danger is the mother bleeding out.
Yes.
Also, maybe because circulation, things happen very quickly. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and special conditions like hypertension. Often they're twins. They sometimes have hypertension. If they've got clotting problems or something, something that's medically not okay, then we don't encourage it really, because you have to be in good condition. It's something that we are on your own. There's no IV line there. Although we can, like when the mom's too exhausted, I give her oxygen. There's an O2 thing, and then they're okay. They can deliver now. So, parang boost, like a boost for you give them oxygen.
Yeah. So okay, I'm glad you answered that, doctor. And being very upfront about it, it's exactly what people need to hear. They need the right information. And from a guy with your experience, from a doctor like yourself, and your tradition and the legacy that you're carrying on of making birth safer for the mother and the baby. Those are good things to know. Very educational. So,
and many of our staff do water births. Okay, I'm just the one who's talking about it.
Yes. But yes,
many of our staffs do it, and they're good at it. Even our residents know how to do it, because there's a time that, wow, my God, there was this woman she called me, and then she goes, my back is already painful, and then she was like fully dilated. I had to rush from my house to Makati Med.
How many centimeters with that?
Full dilatation, 10 cms.
Okay.
So it's a very physical job. So I had to rush from my place. I had to run up the stairs, and I got there just in time. Then the baby came out. I caught the baby. Yeah. It's exciting. It's never boring.
You said, doctor, that sometimes you mentioned earlier that when the mother is bleeding too much, you inject something in her. What is that exactly?
It's something to make the uterus contract, no? So the baby suckling on the breast will release oxytocin. In fact, that's what, remember I mentioned oxytocin with you and the dog?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah, the dog has power over you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the baby, no? So the oxytocin is being released, so it makes the uterus contract, and that prevents bleeding.
Okay, so like before, when we looked at the past and the last century, it's somehow the baby was always separated from the mother, and then there's a time before there are incidences, you can't see the baby's incubator. But if the baby breastfeeds, that releases oxytocin for both the mother and the child?
That releases oxytocin for both the mother and the child. The mother is having her uterus contract. The child and the mom are falling in love with each other, because that's the bonding hormone. I used to joke that, if you wanted to go on a date, if they had aerosol and oxytocin, wow, in love na sa'yo.
Is what happens when that oxytocin fades. I don't think it ever fades for...
women have lots of oxytocin. So we have sexual contact, there's oxytocin, that's why you fall in love with a guy. When you eat together, there's oxytocin. In fact, that's really the bonding hormone. So you do little things, you have, it's not only with the children, but basically you do things together, you're releasing oxytocin, so you bond together. But too much oxytocin brings about racism. So all these people who are too close, they start joining the Ku Klux Klan or whatever. They're too close. I understand. So everybody else becomes alien to them.
We keep just fostering that oxytocin between too little of a group, even the relationship can become toxic
Yes.
for with the people, and they don't understand that they're hurting others.
Yes, exactly. Too
And
much of a good thing.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people also take advantage of that when they want to isolate. Now we're into this, but yeah, I'll just say it anyway. When they want to isolate their partner so that they can control them, right? This happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's not part of water birth.
That's not part of their birth, but if you bring
That's
them in,
different.
it's another Egyptian thing that we're talking about. But okay,
Yes.
so water birth, doctor, I think we're running out of time, and that was such a great show, doctor. I would really just love to chat with you just for my own pleasure, but I know you're a busy guy. But if perhaps one of these days we can just talk about anything in ancient Egypt.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Yeah, so it's been a pleasure. I just wanted to reiterate, we have very
for those who are curious about water birth, you have
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah, we have a fantastic facility. We'll take care of you as better than any place for sure, because we have the personnel, we have the experience, we have the place for it. So however you want to deliver, Makati Med will take care of you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Martin Manahan. Don't forget
Pleasure.
Martin Manahan, and I think your uncle or maybe your dad has delivered a lot of my relatives.
Between them, I have delivered grandchildren that they delivered. So it's been generations, but your family, I know starting from my uncle.
Yeah, yes, I know that. I think I just know I wasn't one of them because of certain events in history.
Okay. His son, Constantino's son, is the most famous Manahan, Mr. M.
Yeah, I know my sisters and my mom. So thank you very much.
My
It's
pleasure.
also have this bond of knowing that we were brought into this world with the help of your relatives and your help as well.
We
And
deliver our own children, so yes,
yes,
our relatives. I was delivered by my dad.
yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for being on the show. Please
Thank
come
you.
back to the show anytime to discuss any type of aspect when it comes to giving birth, preparation, anything you'd like to talk about. You're welcome on the show. You're most welcome. It's been a pleasure to talk to you again.
My pleasure, Nicole. Nice to see you again. Invite me again. It's been too long.
I'm inviting you again right now. Okay. Anyway, folks, that was our discussion today, water birth. It was very fun for me, and I know there was a lot of information given by Dr. Manahan. He even shared a video with us. So thank you for tuning in to Healthline with Makati Med. We'll see you again next week, Monday, 5 to 6 p.m. Take care, everybody. Bye till then. See you, doctor. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Healthline with expert doctors from Makati Med, giving you the chance to interact, uplifting your lifestyle. Moderated by Nicole Jacinto. Tune in again next week for your weekly dose of Healthline.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.